not there. No, he's here. I see him. I just want him to look through it.
There he goes. There he
goes.
Hi. You know, he is the highlight of my children's life, for sure.
It's like no one in my school doesn't know about my cat.
Then we noticed he was just getting a little bit more lethargic.
That was when I really was like, no, something's wrong. He needs to go to the vet.
Hi guys.
Oh.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So my name is Sherry, and I work in beauty branding, and this is Slayer. We got Slayer in November, right, Mark?
My name is Mark. I live in New York, and I'm a graphic designer. This cat was just the cutest thing.
We were checking out this cat, and every single person in my family, they were like, "Oh, he's perfect." And I pet him, and he bites me. My name is Gray, and favorite hobby varies, but mostly sports. My name is Ashton, and my favorite hobby is it's either petting my cat or playing basketball. You get used to the biting. Yeah. It all worked out.
It was the summertime, and you know, one of the things, like Mark kept saying that he was an old man, that he was acting like an old man. And at the time, you know, the cat was like, you know, under a year old, so he's, you know, 9-10 months old. And then I really started noticing that he wasn't eating. What I really remember was Mark at the pet hospital letting me know that they were pretty sure that he had this, you know, mutation that was deadly, and we had a choice. You know, we could spend more money to get more scans, or we could pay more to see the doctor, but it was pretty clear, like, you know, that he was going to die.
There are coronaviruses in almost every single species of mammals on the planet. And in fact, they're in other species as well. They're in birds. I mean, you name it, the species has got a coronavirus. Cats have a coronavirus as well. So this research was done by my old professor, actually, at Davis. On the rare occasion, there's something in a cat's system, and we're not sure quite yet what it is, it's frustrating, will cause this virus to turn bad, for lack of a better way to say it, and it develops into a condition called Feline Infectious Peritonitis, FIP. There's a dry form, there's a wet form, it doesn't matter, they're both fatal.
My relation to FIP happened when we got a what's known as a COVID cat. There's really not that much that, you know, we could do, even because this disease, there's really no cure for it that the vets can recommend.
I can't speak for him, but I was just confused.
The fact that there was no authorized treatment that was being offered to us made things even more fraught and bizarre, and we were pointed towards, you know, Facebook groups.
And I remember being like, if this is as serious as you're saying it, I don't want to be away while he could be inevitably in his last hours.
Nothing that you read about it is ever good and hopeful, except for, you know, we were reading that you could take some medicine, but it was sort of a unauthorized use of a human drug.
There is no treatment for it until now. Are you going to spend money and your cat might still die? That is always a possibility. but you also have a chance your cat might survive.
I think we kind of found out some initial things about what possible costs would be, and it just, I think for us, it was like, it's just a hard no.
From the minute I knew he was sick, I felt sick. I actually thought I developed an ulcer. I remember lamenting on the phone to my mom and to my friends that I felt terrible.
I was devastated and in complete shock. Slayer, my cat, was everything to me.
I think if we had just left the cat at the vet and, said okay, the cat's gonna die, so let's put him down, that was would have been an easier option, because out of sight, out of mind. Somewhere midweek, we realized that Slayer, he really wasn't getting better, and meanwhile I'm getting worse. And so we actually made another appointment to put him down.
And we did a complete 180 and decided to just spend way more money than we might have ever spent on ourselves for any human drug for this cat medicine.
I feel like even 10 years ago, it would be very taboo to be spending, a lot of money on a pet, but now pets have become more part of our real family lives and culture. And I think that night I asked Mark, I was like, okay, what was the name of that treatment, that guy had suggested? I went on Facebook group that night and checked it out myself and started talking with one of the reps, a drug company rep. I thought it was really weird that I can only talk to her on Facebook. That was a red flag for me, and I tried to text her, but then she was like, look, I'm dealing with lots of other patients and pets simultaneously. I really need, can we do this on Facebook? So we did.
The process was not normal by any means. It was described by one of our family members as the telltale sign of a scam. It just had scam written all over it.
What I found out from that conversation was that for, about $1,500, I could get a 2-week supply of this medicine, and that, I would see results within a couple of days. I think a lot of our friends and family were really concerned that this was a company trying to prey on us, and was it really a prudent decision?
But the more and more we learned about it, it seemed more plausible that this could be real treatment.
And I thought, okay, let's see, it'll either work or it won't. I mean, that's the equivalent of what we were going to spend at the vet for additional testing. So that was kind of how it all began.
And so eventually we did get the shots.
We had absolutely no faith that this would work, and we just were wondering why we're, torturing this dying animal.
The cat would growl every time that we gave him the injection, which gave me just some pause. I really hoped that we were doing the right thing.
I was the administrator to hold the towel tight, in my arms so he wouldn't try and squirm away.
I was the shot administrator. It was tough. I was the man with the needle. If I recall, you would pinch the skin, and you had to kind of make a little fold, and then you had to put the needle in and make sure that it didn't go through the other side. It was just terrible. And then you got it there, and you've got a cat who's not happy about it, to say the least. And then you've got to plunge. It's just a world that I had never really known that much about.
I was never like the one to actually like administer the shot, but it was like, it's hard to watch.
I was constantly juggling, what's the right decision?
Sending PayPal money to, strange Gmail addresses that seem to be from other countries.
I actually calculated, and I used to tell people that I could have gotten 22 new cats for the amount of money that we spent on the medication. I actually did the math, and it's 58.
And then you have this miracle promise with very little documentation or assurance, and it's a real leap of faith.
The thing I felt in my heart was like the parable of like the person who's like throwing, the crabs back into the ocean, and it's like, well, this isn't going to make a difference, but like, it mattered to like that one.
And then like a week later, I mean, to say he was doing backflips would sound totally ridiculous, except that he was playful and he was a kitten again.
Oh my God, it was a miracle. I mean, I think I sent you a video of him running around in here, and like the progress was instantaneous. Within a couple of days, he was eating again, and that was very, very rewarding. 1 week after trying an experimental drug.
Well, first of all, the cat was so ill that if there weren't going to be results within like a week or two, there wouldn't have been a cat. It was unlike anything I've ever seen. I mean, I'm the biggest cynic, biggest skeptic. It was really something I had to see for my own eyes.
Like, many variables went in to save Slayer, and I'm truly like grateful for how it turned out.
We're so happy, and we're so grateful, and it worked. And even the naysayers in our family that were like, I don't know if this is a good idea, they see the impact that it's had on the kids and how much we love the cat, and they feel like it was a good decision because it worked. To be honest, that probably would even been the last place I would have turned. I might have been, maybe if I researched on Google, I could have ended up in Facebook groups, but I don't know that I would have known which one to choose if that gentleman hadn't kind of pointed us in the right direction. I think I've learned some optimism in modern medicine from this experience. As soon as Slayer got better, unfortunately, I got sick. I was diagnosed a year ago with breast cancer. And, it's been good to think about how amazing a recovery and turnaround Slayer had, and I hope the best for myself as well. I'm praying for a miracle also. I think that's definitely one thing that I do tell people when they reach out and they're, staring down the gun of a, FIP diagnosis, and, they want to know, like, is there treatment and does it really work, and those kind of things. I always am honest about our experience and what a miracle it was, but I also am honest with them, or I give them some permission that, like, it's costly, and if you don't have that money, it's okay.
Had it happened later, it would have been a lot more difficult to go through with the treatments, because my wife ended up being diagnosed. It remains still, a huge focus, just getting her health back on track. I don't want to say we wouldn't have done the treatment, but it would have been all that much harder to kind of go forward with a, exorbitantly expensive treatment for a cat who is, again, a beloved family member, but trying to keep in perspective that we might, we might have had to really made some hard decisions and, prioritizing.
I definitely think it influenced my husband's perspective, in that, he was always just like, look at Slayer, like, we're gonna get you the meds, and everything is going to be good and it's going to be good. So, I think it definitely gave us, like I said, some of that hope. Mark is so kind. Like at least once a week, he'll thank me for like saving Slayer, because we had decided that we were gonna have him put to sleep, and it was really like my tenacity or whatever it is that I refuse to give up on anything that like. I'm like, all right, like I'm gonna try it. You'd have to be someone who's really proactive to be able to even find this solution, right? So our local vet had never, we're in New York City, they'd never even had someone do the treatment. So they didn't know to recommend it to us, but also they can't. So there's that. But they were very lucky to observe us, because they now, I think, they love animals there. They'll probably do whatever they can to make sure that you know about it, even though they're legally not supposed to. I'll bring it all the way back to this notion that we're now in a society where people treat their pets as they do kids, and they're investing in pet insurance, and they're expecting that insurance is going to cover the treatments that are that their pets might need in the future.
Let's say you have pet insurance, you think you're covered. Well, this totally wouldn't be covered.
So to be put in that situation where you have to pay out of pocket and there's a treatment available, I think that's really a problem.
It's really the type of thing that the price of admission for pet ownership is eventual grief. Again, like, why am I the guy to be injecting something with a needle? Like that's crazy.
And you only have a couple of days to make these decisions. We were getting like medicine from somebody across town who had a little extra just to tide us over so that we could have the meds, within 24 hours. Like, it's time is of the essence, and we need, and it's available, and it's going to work quickly. So access would be really great. To celebrate Slayer's finale of treatment, we all dressed up as him for Halloween, and I shared that on Facebook. And when I shared that on Facebook, 2 people let me know that they had lost pets to FIP. So I think that was more in the past than recent, but that was interesting to know that people had gone through that same experience. I have continued to be a part of the group and answer questions from people that are considering it. I think I posted the picture of us dressed as him. I think I posted, some pictures of him happily, celebrating the end of his treatment or whatever. And that has been something, that people see and they come back to and reach out. And, I always believe in like, I've been through this experience, so it's important to spread the word and to share it with others. Yeah.